Welcome to the All Inclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Shy, and today we have two guests. We have a husband and wife duo who are entrepreneurs. I guess you could call yourselves pillars of your community because you have a community of children. Your ministers. Y'all tap into a lot of different things, right? So, welcome to the All Inclusive Podcast.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's a long time coming.
Long time coming.
Listen,
Finally made it.
yeah, finally made it, right? So we have Matt and Tia Barty. Matt has his brand, the Red Couture brand. Tia, I mean, we all repping Red Couture today. Um, and Tia, what don't you do, Tia? That's the question.
Probably a little bit of stuff that I don't do. I do a lot.
You have arm candy business. You do custom stuff. She actually did my custom all inclusive apparel logo. What else do you do? You do
So I just break it down like
okay.
this. So it's made by LDB,
Okay.
the home of luxury beaded jewelry and more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically three umbrellas. I have my jewelry side where everything is handmade by me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have my boutique style items, which is the hat you have on, and then you can have your custom things made in that area too. And then I have the business branding side where you can get the flyers and the posters and social media content, that kind of stuff.
Which she's done a lot of the all inclusive branding.
Yes.
And we got some amazing stuff that we're about to drop with the all inclusive brand we've been talking about. So it's pretty much nothing that you don't touch.
Yeah, I'm a creative, a crafter, and a creator.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. And it's Women's History Month, so it's even better to have a couple on because a lot of times you hear about, women are great, but you have an amazing husband who pushes your dreams also as much as you push his dreams. So it's great to have you guys on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So Matt, what do you do?
What's up? So, as you mentioned, I had the brand. It's called Red Couture. The Rare is an acronym for running and ruling everything. So it's a brand with the meaning. The concept behind the brand is that we were born to be kings and queens and have rule over different areas of our lives and have that boss mentality, whether it be podcasting, work, wherever you are in life. Just kind of have that leadership and that drive forward, that boss and king queen mentality, whatever you involved in.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet? Because I know a little bit of the story, but how did you guys meet?
Okay.
Easy answer is we at our church.
Okay.
Is where we met.
Okay.
I was already a member of the church. Obviously, so I've been at that church since I was 10 years old. And then I think I was in college or I went to school in Atlanta, so I would be away for periods of time and then come home. The first time I saw Tia was when I came home for a break, and then she was there, and I started asking like, well, who's this? So that's like, I guess, high level. I don't know if you want to get more into the detail.
Yeah, so from my perspective, right, it was, so I could tell you the day, I was in church, so I had been going there since like February 2006. I was a senior in high school, and by this time, like you said, he was on a break. What was it, like a summer break maybe?
Probably
So
summer
you're talking
break.
about June. I had already been there since February. And so I had kind of knew like a couple of the guys just from seeing them. I worked at Giant on 33rd Street, so they knew my face. And so one Sunday, I had went out in the hallway to get water from the water fountain, and he was out there. And he kind of caught my eye, and I'm like, I ain't never seen him before. And it was weird because I'm like, well, is he a visitor? But he knew a lot of people, so I was very confused. I never seen him, but he's here like he belongs, like he been around. But I never seen him. I'm like, well, what? So I asked my mother. Well, I told my mother, like, I saw this cute boy at church today. I don't know. I never saw him before. So but I was like, it looked like he might go there, but I never seen him. And so she wound up finding out, like, oh, that's Minister K's son. And I was like, yeah, nope, his mother's a minister. Absolutely not. I'm like, I don't want no church boy. Like, no, thank you.
No.
And so she's like, well, that's what you need, blah, blah, blah. So fast forward, my sister was working at the summer camp. I had mentioned him, so they knew that I was interested. And so my sister wound up giving him my number. The house number, though, because my cell phone was off at the time, right? So I'm like, I thought she was lying. She's like, yeah, I gave that boy your number. I'm like, no, you didn't, because my cell phone is off. You had to give him the house number. I know you didn't give out our house number. Fast forward to like October, he's calling me. I missed the call, came in the house, and I never, because it's me, my mother, my two sisters that live in the house. So I never just come in and check the caller ID, because you could be calling for anybody.
Right.
I saw an unfamiliar number. I called it back. It was him. And I'm just like, it just seems so surreal, because I'm like, this girl really gave this boy my number. Then I'm like, but why did it take him so long to call if he been had my number? This was in the summertime. So it was just a whole.
Because I was going to ask that to you.
Yeah, it took a long time. So I'm like, but
Matt, what took so long?
I mean, I don't really have a real reason why it took so long. I mean, I was in school, right? So I had the number, and I was just kind of like, well, I got it right before I went back to school. So, I'm getting settled with classes and everything. So I think it was more so.
You was in Atlanta,
like
though.
I was in Atlanta. So it was a timing of getting focused with classes, getting settled with the schedule before trying to. It's a new endeavor, right? So for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, I'll get to it at some point. I think I just one day said, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and give it a call.
Now, mind you, it's not like I was waiting, because I never knew. Like, you know what I'm saying? I thought my sister was legit lying. Like,
oh, that's the part too, is that her sister told me that Tia said, oh, give him my number. So when I do call thinking like she knows why I'm calling. So then when she told me that wasn't the case, I was like, oh, well, should we just should I just hang up then? Because if you didn't give me the number, should we even be on the phone? Like, do you even want to talk to you? I didn't say that, but I was kind of thinking like, this is awkward now. So,
but we had a great conversation. It was like maybe about an hour, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
We had a good conversation the first time, so it worked out. I mean, clearly, right?
Clearly. So you guys met, dated for a while, got married. Now y'all have children. Tell me about that life, especially with running all these businesses that you have.
Chaotic. Honestly, it really is chaotic. It's hard to describe. I mean, we take things like day by day. Life changes so much. The kids grow and change, but I would say the way that we manage it is that we really have like a really good partnership before anything. We have a great give and take. We sacrifice, for each other, whether it be personal time, things related to work or business. We agree and we compromise and we just kind of make it work, but we meet in the middle. There's not, I don't feel like she's taking all the time to do her thing, or I'm taking all the time to do, my thing, but we work together. Okay, you got those two kids, washing them up. I got these two, or you cook dinner while I wash up, or you do this while I do that. There's always I wash the clothes, you wash the dishes. Just really, really good at complementing each other as far as how the relationships work and the work that has to be done with the kids, the businesses, and everything that comes with it. But it's chaotic.
It's chaotic. Y'all don't have like a set schedule, do y'all?
I'm not gonna say set as like a. So day to day, we know that from this time to this time is gonna be school drop off. Wake up, get dressed, school drop off. Work schedule is pretty much the same kind of balance that every day, but it's the nighttime routine. So like if it's something where, or if we know that we have certain things coming up, an event where I might be doing a pop-up, he might not be a part of, he knows that when I come home today, I have to do this amount of stuff right here. So the kids are pretty much upstairs with him so I can focus, or, you know what I'm saying? If it's something that we both have to do, then we've mapped it out where our family can step in and help with the children while we go and tackle this. But as like a set schedule,
No.
Yeah.
no.
No.
We know in the
Yeah.
mornings we got to get everybody up to get to
Right.
school and daycare,
Yeah.
work, and whatever else we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
And during the day, she at
Things
work,
come up.
I'm out,
Yeah.
making money. And then in the evening, we know we come home, we have to eat and
Mm-hmm.
get the kids ready for the
Yeah.
next
Right.
day.
Right.
So that's kind of the schedule, and then we kind of just like figure it out as we
Yeah.
go along. We do have like a calendar
Mm-hmm.
on like our wall to kind of help us with specific like dates, like activities at the school, because that's another thing too.
Mm-hmm.
School does stuff and they
Ooh.
do it during the day, 10 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So,
Mm-hmm.
planning, for events like that is kind of roped in there too.
And these kids are out way more than we were.
Way more.
We
Yeah.
would walk
Way
to the school in the rain, sleet, snow.
Listen, I don't think, honestly, like I'm not exaggerating, I don't think they've had a full Monday through Friday in school for the whole day since we've been back from Christmas break. So between the snow days, between holidays,
Mm-hmm.
between professional development days, and
Mm-hmm.
then we live in Harford County, so our kids, they have like these half days every other Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So they literally have not been in school for like a full 5 days, since
Yeah.
we've been back from, the holiday. So yeah, it's crazy. And they
Yeah.
got out 2 weeks ago because they thought it was
They
gonna
did,
rain too hard. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I seen that. I was
yes.
like, jeez. When you talk about, having a great partnership, how does your faith um play a part in, and how big is your faith?
I would say that so with that question, I feel like God gives each of us a certain amount of grace to handle
Mm-hmm.
the life that he purposed for us to have. And
Mhm.
so for me, I have a big capacity to handle multiple things at one time, which is how I'm able to function with 5 children, a job, a business, a husband, trying to find time for myself, self-care. So
Mm-hmm.
I think just keeping God first and knowing that he made me like he wired me this way.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly I can do the things because it's people who can't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of people that be like, how do you even have the time to sit down and make jewelry? How do you have the time to create? Like, how do you do it? And
Yeah.
I literally have no other answer but like,
Mhm.
girl, it's by the grace of God
Yeah.
because it ain't no way that I could function in this
Mhm.
capacity like that. So I feel like with I feel like number one, prayer, right? Like
Mhm.
prayer. I
Absolutely.
literally start my day with prayer every day. And then when I do feel those times, because I'm human, so of course
Mhm.
I'm gonna feel those times where I'm like, this is too much. And my
Mhm.
husband he'll tell like I get in those moods where I'm like, the house is a mess. They keep fighting. This like I need to sit down for a minute. And
Mhm.
you have those moments, but I always reel myself back.
Right.
Like I'm able to come back and be like, all right, girl, calm down and be at peace because I'm like, Lord, you really gotta help me. Like
Mhm.
this is coming up, or I have to get through this. I know, like this week, I went back to work full time in the
Mhm.
office. I work for the government, so this is my first full week surviving SSA. I'm gonna start
Congratulations.
you
a
made it.
documentary.
You made it.
Say us, but like this is my first full week, and today, like I had stuff to do with
Mhm.
orders and stuff today. So I'm
Mhm.
like, how do I juggle all of? But I made it work out. You know
You
what I'm saying?
definitely
Because,
did.
and I feel like that's just nothing, honestly, but the grace of God. Like my faith is
Yeah.
up there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I already know what he can do. I know, you know what I'm saying? He'll never leave me nor forsake me. I just
Mhm.
remind myself of those things daily, like
Mhm.
daily, so that I can take on the tasks that come with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just to piggyback I'm pretty level headed. Like I don't really get riled up like
Mhm.
a lot. I'm pretty calm. I think my patience,
Mhm.
you
For as
know.
long as I've known you, this is the most I've heard you speak outside of like actually like ministering.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, if you get me in the right environment,
Mhm.
obviously, I'll talk, but I am somewhat reserved.
Mhm.
Like I said, level-headed, pretty patient. But again, I just pray to God for strength to make it through. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's chaotic. So in the
Mhm.
chaos, you just need strength, and you need kind of clarity to be able to figure out, okay, it's chaotic, but we
Mhm.
can get through this. So
Yeah.
I'm always praying that God is like, just give me the strength. I'll not take care of the rest, but like I'll meet you halfway. Give me the
Yeah.
strength to keep pushing, to keep providing, to keep
Mhm.
waking up and every day, and doing this, and I'll roll with the punches.
it's been times where I've even questioned, like, God, why would, so, before marriage, before children, why didn't I have this dream or vision before all of this? Like, you know what I'm saying? I always wonder, like, why would I get all of this desire, these desires to have this business and have a store and do all of this stuff after I'm married, after I have 5 children? Like,
There's
you know
a
what I'm saying?
blessing in marriage, though.
Yeah, for
There's a
sure.
blessing in
Yeah.
marriage, and most people, if you don't know, like, I'm a lesbian, and I'm talking to 2 ministers right now, and we're having the conversation, right? And I do desire marriage. I do desire having a child. At this point, I don't know. I'm 35, and honestly, I'm kind of like in a situation where it's like, I could get up and I can go. I don't have to get a babysitter. Like I honestly think about that. On the other end, I've always had a desire to be a mom and to carry a child, and I have carried and miscarried. But so now I'm getting older. I'm like, I just took a cruise. It was an adults only cruise. I didn't have to worry about finding a babysitter for my child, and I can enjoy myself on an adults only cruise.
Listen, that's a huge thing. We talk about it all the time. Like, if we talk to people that don't have children and want them, like, just enjoy your time. Don't, not to say that obviously there's time for the kids, like you said, you mentioned like the age thing. But don't take it for granted. Right? Enjoy the fact that you can. Well, you already seen you have already like realized it, but I think people take for granted like that free time to be able to just get up. Like, when we were married with no kids, we could jump up at 1 o'clock in the morning and go to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee. Like, things like that you don't even consider. Babysitters, scheduling when kids get sick, and there's so many things that come with it. So it's a big task.
I think for me, like, for that question that I had for him, I feel like if I would have had the desire earlier, then maybe the children, like, the marriage would be here. The marriage was never, but I feel like the children would maybe not be here, or maybe not all of them be here. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, because back to the scripture, like, before I formed you, I knew you. So I knew that, for instance, for you to have a girl, I would have to give you all of your boys first, because if you would have got the girl first, you may only have one child.
Right.
Because I never desired to have more than one girl. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that was the reason, because he also has a plan for all of the children he gave us too.
Right.
And so I feel like all of it just works together, right? Because I don't know if my husband would be doing clothes or have children if he already had a big store and everything was already popping. Like, where's the time for family to even create or have that balance? So I feel like it definitely works out how it's supposed to work out, according to the plan and purpose that God gives you.
Absolutely. Like, I still struggle with the miscarriage that I had, and there's times where it's like today I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, yeah, I would have a 4-year-old. My child would be turning 4 this year. I was like, every year I remember what age my child would be turning. That doesn't ever go away. But this year has been the first year that I have not been so fixated on trying.
Right.
Like, I used to hear stories about people who were trying for, whether it was a girl or whether it's, a child, period. It's like, you become so fixated on that one thing that you don't allow anything else to happen.
Right.
So just imagine, like, I imagine that, like, I have the part that this is my baby. Like, I put my time, my energy, my sweat, my tears into it. And I've watched myself grow as a person because of the pod.
Sure.
Well, that's what your children do. They make you grow. They stretch you in ways where you wouldn't even think of. They test you, right? They test you because as they get older and they have this great exposure to this world, it's like, oh my God, my kid knows this, and they don't have it in the household. So how do they know that? So it keeps you praying. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you wanting to keep just being a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like I kind of battle with that now as far as wanting to have children because I've raised children already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I know it's going to happen. I'm just being patient and accepting the time that it's going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, to talk about children, what would you tell your children now as far as what their dreams are and stuff like that that you were not told as a child?
Probably that nothing is impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, you really can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not, everything is not going to be easy. So don't think that, you're going to go out here and people are just going to be willing to help or willing to support, right? Or willing to even believe in the fact that you could do whatever you're saying it is that you want to do. Like, I don't come from a family of people who have businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mother be like, you are so creative. And now she's, I guess, because of whatever her inspiration is for me, is tapping into starting to make her own products. So it's like, but she didn't come from that. So I feel like I love the fact that I always pray that we don't just tell our children, but we are able to set that example. So if we saying that you can have your own business, they see that we have our own business. We have it being married. We have it with all of them. We have it still working regular jobs too. Like, you can do this. It's not impossible. And then, I mean, just being able to allow them to explore different things. Like, just because you a tall black boy don't mean you got to be a basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You can
Yeah.
dream your dream and go after that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that phrase, dream your dream and go after that, because that's the biggest thing I think I take away from like my childhood. It's funny because when I was younger, we had like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember reading this book, not a book, it was a magazine. It was like a Macy's or whatever it was. It was like a jewelry book, and the jewelry in there was like really, really expensive. And so I had this idea like, well, if I want to make a lot of money in the future, I should sell jewelry, right? So I had this dream when I was younger that I wanted my own like jewelry store. So I had this dream for a long time, like, and it was like people was like, "Oh, that's so good," like, it's so good, like. But the
That's cute.
idea of
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is, I think, what people, adults, missed out on, that was the seed that was being planted.
Yeah.
To be my own boss, to have
Yeah.
my own store, and it was never like cultivated or stimulated properly. It was always still like, well, you got to go to college, you got to get a degree, you got to take these steps, which I agree. I probably had to because nobody around me had the resources to invest in a business. So more so than what would I say to the children is like, what would I do for them to be able to chase the dream, right? So if my son says he wants, I don't know, whatever his own company, I want to be able to give him the capital to start the company and not feel like he has to go to college, right?
Yeah.
To be successful. And I think that's what was not taken away from us, because our parents didn't have it. They didn't know any better back then. It was all about go to college, get a good job.
Absolutely.
Things have completely changed now.
Yes.
So I want to foster that spirit of you can be an entrepreneur if you want to, as soon as you graduate from high school, while you're in high school, while you're in middle school. It doesn't have to wait. We don't have to like, we can invest in your future. And I think we have the ability to do that. And that's what I look forward to doing for them. If they want to go to college, of course, by all means, if that's not the route they want to take, I want to be able to push that dream and invest in it.
Okay. So talking about dreaming, you actually opened up your own store.
I did.
Yeah.
I did open the store. It is, as an update right now, it is closed.
Okay.
So I did it September of 2023.
Okay.
My lease was for 12 months. When the lease was up, based on like the location, I decided like this is not really as beneficial to me as I would like it to be.
Okay.
Like, I think because you came there and it's like a suite up in the
yeah.
building. So as far as like foot traffic, it's hard to get foot traffic. The location wasn't horribly like inconvenient, but just you're in a building, I gotta go outside and try to convince people, hey, come in this building, as opposed to like a storefront or like in the mall, which is kind of like where I'm kind of looking to go to next. More so storefront on the street or something inside of a a mall or a shopping center where I can really like be with the people and not up in the suite. So I did, like with the lease came, I said no thanks, I don't want to renew. Not because of the business itself, but just the location. I'm still successful in business. I still sell clothes, you know, all the time. I do a lot of pop-ups, but yeah, for now I am looking. It's not something I gave up on at all. And I am still 100% self-employed. I did not, you know, go back, you know, to get a job, even though I closed the store. So just
and that's a blessing all in itself.
Oh, for sure.
To be able to do that, because most businesses fail within the first 5 years, and most people have to work. I mean, the pod is doing great in my eyes because this is my baby.
Sure.
But I still work a job every day. Y'all know. Y'all know. Where are you at? I'm at work. So I commend you on just stepping out on faith, on, you know, trusting and believing in your talent.
Sure.
And the vision that God gave you, because sometimes you're given a vision without the provision.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's like, am I supposed to do this?
Sure.
But you did it.
I did it.
So congratulations. Definitely.
I appreciate it. And I kind of got pushed into it. I was laid off from my job, right? Like in 2023. They told me it's like April of 23 that my last day will be in June of 23. And at that time, my last day came. My last day was the same day that our daughter was born. So my daughter's birthday and my last day working at a job is her birthday. So obviously sometime after that, I was just kind of figuring out what I should do. And then the opportunity for the store, you know, it came up and I took it. And at that time I wasn't looking for a job still. I just was like, okay, I'm gonna roll with this. And now we're going on 2 years. And I have not been back to a job. And I think for me, the flexibility for the family is the biggest thing, right? Like if somebody gets sick at school, or if I got to do drop-offs. And especially now too, like my wife mentioned, like Tim mentioned, she's back in the office full time. Like school starts at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We live in Hartford County. She works on Wabash. She can't drop the kids off, but
she like,
but because of my flexibility, I could drop the kids off to school. I could drop the kids off at daycare, go make my money throughout the day, and still be able to. She calls, say, hey, I'm gonna be late picking the kids up. All right, well, I'm gonna shoot up 95 and grab them. So I never want to give up that flexibility. So whatever it is I have to do to maintain this, like I'm gonna just continue to grind. It's an everyday hustle. It's an everyday grind. It's a faith walk, right? I have to wake up and believe, like I can make the money I need to make, you know, for today, and then trust that God is gonna lead me in the right direction to do that. So.
Yeah, definitely. My faith has definitely increased when it came to the podcast, because I started as a duo, and
I remember that. Yeah.
And I just thought, I was like, you know, God, this is what it's supposed to be, and God was like, shift. And when I knew it was God, because I fought it. And typically when I fight something, it's because God is really making me want to do it.
Sure.
And with tears in my eyes that only certain people saw, I was like, I'm just going to quit. And I had one person say, you better not quit.
Wow.
You better not. And I was like, okay. And I've watched. It was a time I wouldn't even watch an interview that I did. Now I literally watch my interviews and I'm like, I could have done that better. That looks different. And I just got an opportunity to do some things. And I wasn't gonna say it, but I think it's worth saying. I have an opportunity to do a conference. 2 years in, well, about to be 2 years in, and the conference is not in Baltimore.
Wow, that's dope.
And I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I was like, I don't want to announce what's happening, because she's like, where's your promotion? Because people might want to come to the conference just because you're going to be there. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, because somebody might try to sabotage. And she was like, you're scarred. but you got to keep moving forward, and you have to like promote not just the conference because this is your opportunity, but promote you as a brand. And so I was like, okay. And I have an opportunity to literally do a conference, and I'm going to do it. I sat on an email for a week, and then I was like, I'm going to do it. And that's what we're working on. We're working on the conference. But let me tell you how God works. Probably about 2 weeks before I got the email, I knew it was God saying, rewrite your vision. Rewrite your vision and rewrite your mission. So I sat there at work and I just kept typing. And then my computer, Mac, it restarted and I didn't save it. But I have a photographic memory. So I remembered everything so now it's saved. And now that's what's about to go on one of the pamphlet that is. So I was like, this was all God's working. All God's working. Us being together today on the show, I truly believe is all God's working. I didn't know your story. I didn't know, about, but I saw you open up a shop and I was like, that's right. And I just want to see all of us win.
Yeah, for sure.
In whatever area you are great at and gifted, and God has placed in you, I just want to see everybody win.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you made a good point. I think the phrase you used was like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like you go back to like Nike, like just do it. As simple as it sounds, like sometimes it's like just do it. Like, and for people that are watching or listening and it's something that you really want to do, like just do it. You waste so much time thinking about if it's gonna work, are people gonna support me? Like, even if they don't, at least you can say you tried it.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather you try and not succeed than not try at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think, like with me, right, and this can apply to everybody. I feel like God gives us windows with like, so I'll be sitting and I'll get an idea or a thought about something, and I won't move on it fast enough, and then soon after, I will see this same thing like in my face somewhere else where somebody may have did it, or I'll see it like, dang, I was thinking about that. Like, oh, wow. And then I'll be like, let me go ahead and do it and stop playing, because clearly it may be meant for me to bring it to my audience. And so I think a lot of times too, people hold back because of what everybody else is doing. And somebody said something to me. They said, matter of fact, it was my pastor. He said, when you go to the supermarket and you go to the bread aisle, you see how many loaves of bread is in the aisle from different companies. Like, do you think that one bread company is gonna stop putting their stuff in the store because these people are here? Like, how many McDonald's do you see when you drive down one street? Like,
Chick-fil-A, it's like 3 Chick-fil-A's, 4 Chick-fil-A's in one area. And all of them got lines.
All of them.
Yeah.
It's like, and I think about that too when we do like these pop-up shops, right? Do a pop-up shop. Just did one, last Saturday? It's 2 or 3 other clothing brands there. But I'm not worried about them. I'm not like, I got my brand. My brand is going to attract certain people. Your brand is going to attract certain people. We could support each other. Like you said, we could all win. We can all eat. It's enough money. It's enough resources out here for all of us to be successful. So yeah, it's always going to be somebody else doing it, but you got to add your twist. Same thing with a podcast. There's a lot of podcasts out here.
Yes.
What makes your podcast different? Not you, but just in general, what makes your brand or your company or your vision different? There's always going to be a little bit of a twist. You're going to have an audience that the next brand or podcast or company or clothing brand or jewelry doesn't have.
Right.
When we used to do stuff, right, I used to be like if we would book something, I'd be like, is paparazzi going to be there? Because I already know if people see that $5 jewelry, they not going to come. And now I don't even ask the question, because they not me. Like, and if somebody does come and I tell them it's my bracelet start at $30, $30. I'd be like, yeah, these not cheap bracelets. Like I make these
Right.
handmade,
Yeah.
quality jewelry.
Yes.
And they be
And
like,
I have
oh,
some on.
I
yeah.
got
Yes.
one on
Yeah.
too.
I have some on.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay, and I just know like you might not be my customer, and that's perfectly
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Like
Yeah.
I don't get bent out of shape by that no more because the people who know my quality know my quality,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's that.
My daughter has a bracelet that you made. I think she was like 3 or 4, and she still has that bracelet.
Wow.
And she's 9 now.
Wow.
I mean, some of them she don't have because she done lost.
Sure.
But it was one in particular that you made, and she still has that bracelet. I think it was like a Frozen bracelet when she was
Yeah.
big in the Frozen. She still has that one bracelet, and I'm like, okay, you holding on. But yeah, it's yeah, definitely. So what would you say, and we're gonna kind of end like this, you want your legacy to be?
Let me think about it. Go first, babe.
My legacy, mostly that he did what he was passionate about. Like I want people to see me and say he was passionate about ministry, passionate about his children, passionate about entrepreneurship, and just be remembered for like going after it, like not being afraid to step out, always pushing the envelope. Just that kind of legacy is like, yeah, he did it. He did what he wanted to do. Like and whether it relates to the children, the ministry, the businesses, whatever the case may be, like he did it, and he did something that he could leave to his children to follow. That's what.
Yeah, I want mine to be like I left my mark. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter whatever you know that I was attached to, you always see me in it, even when I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my children, you'll see qualities of me in that. Like my husband said, in the ministry areas that I'm in, you'll see me in that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Know that everything was done with pure intentions. You know what I'm saying? Love in my heart. Like just that. Just goodness all around coming from me. You know, however I could pour it out, I want it to last forever.
Yeah. My legacy, I just want to be like. And I seen an interview recently. Felicia Rashad was on the Breakfast Club because now all I do is just watch interviews. And she was asked, was it heavy for her to be a role model? And she was like, light is not heavy. And I was like, whew. And I was like, okay. That's why I could do the things that I do on a daily basis. And I thought that it was me being heavy, but it's not. I'm just continuously being busy and people pulling on me. Because really, at the end of the night, I get my sleep. Like I'm peace. I walk around with peace. And I walk around just wanting to be light in the sense of a safe place, but also light in the sense of God's light. And so when I want people to see me or talk about me, I just want them to be like, she was a light.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a piggyback because like, and you know how you put me on the spot to answer the question. I talked about my kids, but I want to be able to just, in general, inspire people. 1, 2, 3, 10,000, whatever it is. I feel like over the course of my life, I've had people to come and say that I've inspired them in some way. I just want to continue to do that. Like you said, I always want to be a light. I always want to be something that someone can look to and say, I want to do. Not be me. I don't want anybody to be me.
Right.
Like, right.
Right.
But do something that sparks
Yeah.
something in someone else, sparks a passion, sparks a drive to say. And I guess this is kind of what I said too. Like he did what he wanted to do, just like spark that passion in somebody else.
That's a part of my morning prayer. Like when I pray in the morning, Lord, let your light shine through me today. Like, you know what I'm saying? And my children, a part of their, when we do our affirmations in the morning, I'm going to let my light shine bright. I'm not going to dim it for nobody. Like that's a part of that because it's naturally what we're supposed to do. Like we are the light of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we could end this show on one of my favorite rappers is Tupac Shakur. Um, and he has a quote that says, I may not change the world, but I may spark the mind of the person to change it. So with that, we're out.